Craig Jackson, who headed up the Leave campaign in Spalding, Lincolnshire, has dismissed concerns that a second referendum could still take place. Spalding voted nearly 70% in favour of Leave, and Mr. Jackson laughed off claims that growing movements to stop Brexit could persuade enough voters. Speaking to Al Jazeera, the Brexiteer claimed the recently agreed transition deal between the EU and the UK was the final nail in the coffin for Remainers. He explained that this deal, which covers the relationship between the two powers for 2 years, means the end is in sight, with just a year to go until Brexit Day. Getty, Al JAZEERAJackson laughed off claims that growing movements to stop Brexit could persuade enough voters. Mr. Jackson said, "I think this is the final nail in the coffin for the Europhile diehards who want the second referendum. The transmission deal is in place and we need to rally around the Prime Minister and the government and work together in the national interest to secure the best possible deal." Locals in Spalding also spoke to reporter Barnaby Phillips, who urged the government to just get on with the Brexit task. One woman said, "There was a majority, you can't go against that." Another person added, "We said what we want, let's just get on with it." Getty. Jackson dismissed concerns that a second referendum could still take place. "I think this is the final nail in the coffin for the Europhile diehards who want the second referendum." Craig Jackson. Mr. Farage echoed this sentiment earlier this week when he mocked those calling for a second EU referendum for starting to look silly. The former UKIP leader told listeners on his midweek LBC show that, unlike a few months back, he no longer fears another vote will happen. He explained, "I was one of those people who 4 or 5 months ago I was really concerned. I could see a never-ending string of Remainers going to Brussels meeting Monsieur Barnier. I could see the news feeds every week that the Remain campaign were highly organised. They even started their own newspaper last year, and I was really getting fearful that a second referendum may well be forced upon us. But today, sitting next to Lord Adonis and appearing on that stage after Tony Blair, I began to look at people calling for a second referendum and I began to think, do you know what? They're actually not only sounding repetitive, they're looking a little bit silly."